Well, ladies and gentlemen, hello, and it's George again.
But I nearly had you, didn't I? It's not George, it's Tootie UK. Welcome back to the channel, guys. And yeah, you can see from the title, we're going to get burnt. Apparently, we're going to get burnt. Someone wants to set me on fire. So a bit of a backstory to this whole debacle, and essentially it revolves around George over at Funky Spectrum, which I would implore you all to go over, check out and watch. I'll put a link to the sort of instigating video, for want of a better word, which was the catalyst for a lot of what's gone on in the last couple of months, possibly. And it's in essence, it's Lady Decade, aka Top Hat Gaming Man, and their e-begging, deceptive, downright, horrendous video, and their portrayal of a copyright claim done to them by a chap called Martin McNeil. But again, I would implore you to go over to George's channel, watch those videos. Stop this video now, go over and watch that video and all the subsequent ones as well, because it really sets the tone for what I'm going to talk about, which is obviously my name being mentioned in a Discord Patreon-backed backroom chat type scenario, where Lady Decade said that she wanted to set me on fire. Why, I have no idea. Clearly she or him or whoever's commenting as that person hasn't watched any of my channels, because if they fucking had done, they would have known that I've been living in the blast furnace for the last 10 years, and 50% of my DNA is Targaryen. And look, you can't set shit on fire. So I don't know. What I would say is, again, if you've been over to George's channel and watched the videos and read the comments, the comment section, very lively, very healthy. Some for, some against, some just sort of sitting on the fence, I suppose. But healthy debate nonetheless. And there've been many people in those comments, voicing their disdain, the same as I had. So why I've been singled out, I don't know. I don't really care. Truth be told, I don't care. This little discussion really isn't going to be about that, to be honest. Because again, like I say, I think George has covered that and continues to cover that far better than I would, and I wouldn't be able to add any value to it whatsoever. But what I do find interesting, and I say I probably wouldn't have made a video about it, other than now I've been name dropped, so I think I have a certain right to defend myself, perhaps, and give my point of view and my perspective on it. Is the lack of response, the lack of condemnation from quote unquote big YouTubers. Now, for those that have watched me for any length of time, and you'll know, I've always alluded to the fact that I don't like any of that, what I would call that jerk circle. And make no bones about it, right? They are all in league with each other. They all go to the same club. They're all in the same WhatsApp, Twitter groups, Discord, whatever. They all share ideas. They all share tactics, ways to manipulate and generate more money. Because if nothing else, aside from poor Martin McNeil being physically and verbally threatened with his life and his family's life, which is horrendous, what this has shown is, at its core, the single most important thing to these people is money. It's all about money, and to sort of reference them in terms of any sort of community, I just think it's wrong. They're not community people. They've no interest in the community. The only community they've got is South community, and the community that they all inhabit together. And they are in the business. It's a business of making money, and making money off your backs. That's it. Now, I don't really want to get too deep into Patreon and the what, who, whys and wherefores and all the other begging mechanisms that are out there, because I'll end up going off a tangent and I'll make no sense whatsoever. So I've got to try and keep myself on track here, which is hard for me to do. But as an example, one of the people that's been in the chats in George's videos, just looking on their Patreon, they have 1,300 Patreons, and I think the lowest tier is something like £4.50. So very simple maths, it equates to like nearly £6,000 a month, which is about nearly £70,000 a year, give or take, that they're earning from making videos, pouncing about in front of a camera. Just let that sink in. That's again, you know, a fool in the money are soon parted. I know this, but I think sometimes people don't realise, perhaps, or maybe they do and they don't care. Is it? I've always found it a bit fascinating as to the reasons why people pay people to make videos that for the content that they'd probably find elsewhere. And I don't watch any of these big YouTubers. I never have done. They literally hold no interest for me at all. But I do see them pop up from the YouTube suggestion. You know, the algorithm does that, doesn't it? And you know, they're all like top of videos. They're all best of and history of and fucking unfound this or whatever it is. But it's all Wikipedia stuff. It's all Google stuff. There's nothing new under the sun in YouTube. And you can find the exact same information elsewhere from people that don't want your money. They're not interested in your money. And like a bit like me, I'm like George. I'm a small, insignificant channel. Okay, I have no interest in taking people's money. I never have done. I didn't start YouTube for that. I started it to find like-minded people to share my passion for collecting retro games. You know, I'd say playing them, but those that know me, you know, I play more now than I did before. But you know, it's just that's the hobby. That's the hobby for me, and YouTube is just an extension of that. For these people, YouTube is not only the hobby, it's their business, it's their livelihood. Okay, they've made a career out of taking your money for making videos. Again, it just sometimes it does fascinate me why people give people this money. Is it are they lacking a sense of belonging? Is that what they're after? They want to be part of something. I don't really know. What do you get back out of it? Go on to their little chat and they talk to you, so you paying for friendship. I do sometimes think, again, I watch a lot of different sort of stuff on YouTube, and massive channels, a lot bigger than some of these quote unquote bigger UK retro gaming YouTubers, and they don't have Patreon. They don't have Patreon. They're making the videos because they want to make them, and they're huge. So I do feel like that sometimes it's almost like a planned, premeditated setup, because by its very nature of what the hobby that we're into, it's quite geeky, it's quite nerdy, it's quite insular, quite, you know, sort of not something you really shout about too much, and I wonder if that's taken advantage of, perhaps. Yeah, you know, certain individuals are easily led and manipulated and separated from the money. But I bet there's some poor buggers that are on minimum wage, and they're going to be sort of deciding whether to feed themselves or heat their home, or keep paying someone £5 a month to make a shitty hobby YouTube video. I just think it's morally wrong. But that's me, you know. A good friend of mine had a great analogy regarding the whole Patreon thing. It's like a pyramid scheme. You know, some of these bigger channels, they basically pay each other, so no one really loses any money. But what it does, it creates that impression that people are donating money, and until it filters down to the bottom, you know, the lowest, the peasant level where we're at, and it's poor peasants that then foot the bill because they don't get their money back. They just Patreon each other at the top, and then you at the bottom end up footing the bill. And I thought that's quite apt. But yeah, going back to the sort of the actual video that George made, and you know, about setting me on fire. If anyone who does know, I would be really interested to know what it was that I said. Maybe it would be in the comments section. Perhaps they'd been in there looking. Again, I do believe that a lot of them are absolutely terrified. They are running shit scared of George and what he knows. Hence why some of them have been in the comments and or elsewhere. People, they put this tweet out, but they're on YouTube and it's not on Twitter. Well, I don't get that. It's, I discussed it in my private Discord channel. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but that's not on YouTube. The fact is, they don't want it on YouTube. They don't want people to associate them with them because they know that they're all in the same club. So if they're doing it, then what's to sort of say you're not doing it? And they don't want people thinking like that. They don't want people that have got two brain cells that have met and can put two and two together. And it's quite interesting to see that circling the wagons and trying to control the narrative and get ahead of the story. And yeah, I would probably say that Lady Decade and Top Hat Gaming Man have been sacrificial lambs. They've been hung out to dry, thrown under the bus, whatever other analogy you want to use. But they've basically gone a step too far. They've took the e-begging and the bloodletting a step too far, and they're going to expose the whole lot of them, and they don't like it. So let's do away with them now. And that's what the reason why all these people, not all these people, a few people have come out and spoke. Other people haven't said anything because they hope it just disappears. They hope it disappears like that Octavius kitten crying e-begging. The exact same principle, exactly the same principle. But they played the mental health card, didn't they, to get her out of that. They protected her. Unfortunately, these pair have gone a step too far, and George has latched onto it. Thank God he latched onto it. And I think within Martin McNeil, they picked on the wrong person. Essentially, they tried to bully and harass and threaten the wrong person, and it's backfired terribly. But I call them the establishment, whatever you want to call it, all that jerk circle. They're all in it together. They're all of the same mindset. Make no bones about it. This is about money. It's pure and simple about money. It's the ruination of YouTube. I've been saying it for years. If you took the money out of it, these people would disappear. You would not see them for dust, because it's not about the hobby. It's not about making videos for you guys to enjoy and to share the hobby and whatever. It's not about that, trust me. At £100,000 a year, it's not. It's about the money. It's about the money and how much more they can milk out of you. In this current climate, I find it deplorable. I find it sickening that people are doing it and they're taking people's money. I don't understand it. I never will. And I think, like I say, the big takeaway for me is just the response to what's gone on, or there in the lack of. I find it fascinating, and just how certain people have come out to try and distance themselves from the whole thing, because that just screams to me guilt. And it's not guilt by association, because they are all of the same. They're all cut from the same cloth. They all use the same techniques, the same bullshit, the same bullshit reasonings for Patreon. Oh, I'm gonna buy equipment. I'm gonna do. It's all crap. I don't buy any of it. It's bollocks. So, if nothing else, guys, I tell you what, I would love to see some people do a response. Just what your thoughts are on it, or perhaps let me know. Do you give people money to Patreon? I mean, I don't know if it's a taboo subject to people feel embarrassed about it. I don't know. I just don't get it. Okay, and I'll never be convinced otherwise. I don't understand it. It's not what I'm on YouTube for. Is Patreon a bad thing? Probably not. No. Is it a bad thing if it's used in the context of you're part of a community that you love and enjoy? Well then, yeah, because that's not being part of a community, is it? You're just taking stuff out. You can make videos for free. It's a free platform. It doesn't cost anything to make videos. So why they all say it keeps the channel running, I have no idea. It keeps the channel running because they don't have to go to work then. Is that what it is? But you poor saps do. Yeah, it doesn't sit right with me. That's all I say, guys. But yeah, again, George, you're not on your own, mate. There are many people that stand with you. Hashtag stand with George. And yeah, keep fighting the good fight. Take it easy, YouTube, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.